Welcome to From Caving In to Crushing It, the podcast for those who find themselves immersed in adversity and choose to write their story instead of having others write it for them. I'm Drew Deraney, and I'm your host. Susie Taylor, it's so good to see you.
Well, thank you. It's good to see you too, Drew.
Oh, wow. So I always like to thank the person who introduced me to my guest. And this one's kind of funny one because before, we hit the record, when you had clicked on the Zoom link I gave you, it didn't work, so you called me. And when you said it's Suzanne Taylor, I was thinking, I know a Suzanne Taylor. I know somebody named Suzanne Taylor King, STK. So it got me confused. And then I realized, okay, same name. And that's how we met. We were actually at a networking event that STK was hosting. And so indirectly through STK, Suzanne Taylor King, I got to meet Susie Taylor. And I just think that's kind of cool because there's always a reason why people meet or get introduced, and and we are going to discuss a lot of that today on this podcast. So thank you, STK, even though you don't realize that you introduced me to Susie Taylor. So Susie, why? Hey, gang out there and audience, I always talk about life being linear in the beginning, and so we're gonna get to why Susie's here. When we're young, we're taught that life is linear, and it's not a malicious teaching by our family or friends or whoever we're around. It's more of a hope. People say to you, if you do A plus B plus C in that order, D is going to happen. And for the most part, life is linear until it's not. There's always an external circumstance that gets in the way in between one of those letters and kind of derails us. And our life goes from that straight path to a more circuitous one. Now, when that happens, we either notice that adversity or we don't. And if we notice it, we either do something about it or we don't. So with that, I believe there's three types of people out there, three types of humans, and for Susie's case, three types of women. Woman number one has a ton of blind spots. She doesn't even notice the adversity. She just goes along life and says, this is the way I was told I should live my life. I'm on autopilot. I'm just going to live it the way it presents itself. And she doesn't change anything. Then there's woman number two. Woman number two has a more heightened self-awareness than woman number one. She notices that adversity, yet she says, I'm the victim. That's life doing it to me. Everybody else is to blame. Life is what it is. I can't control this. I'm not changing anything. And on her deathbed, woman number two's got a lot of regrets. And then there's woman number three. That's Susie Taylor. And it's the women and men I have on this show. Woman number three notices the adversity and she says, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. This adversity is not a barrier, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for me to do something different, take some massive action, and become a stronger woman on the other side. So, with that, Susie, if you could reach back as far as you need to for that defining moment in life, whether it's the tap on the shoulder, the whisper in the ear, or like I needed 2x4 upside my head, that woke you up, that transformed you from the woman you were to the woman you are, and how that defining moment kind of changed you personally and professionally. Would you like to share that with the audience, please?
Sure, absolutely. I think it's the reason we met.
Yeah.
I was on the path of becoming a public relations professional. I was media relations director for a statewide organization. I had just coordinated a statewide election campaign in opposition to an issue that was on the ballot. And I had just gotten pregnant at the beginning of this process. On election day, my water broke.
Wow.
That was at 19 weeks of pregnancy.
Wow.
19 weeks. Uh, and you know what? I'm going to take that back. my baby was born on election day, but at
Born on election.
19
Okay.
weeks at the
Mhm.
beginning of September is
Mhm.
when my water broke. And
Got it.
so I'm trying to coordinate this campaign
Mhm.
on my couch. Um, the baby comes 7 weeks later. That means he was born at 26 weeks
Okay.
gestation, which
Got it.
32 years ago was
Mm.
not a slam dunk like
Right.
it can be today.
Absolutely.
And that's when I realized this was not going to be the life I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
I was totally prepared to stay home for my 6 weeks, find a daycare center, go back
Mhm.
to work, get back into my high power job, back to my company car, all that stuff.
Mm.
But when they took that baby from the hospital where he was born to the local children's hospital, um, then that night that he was born, election night, which was the same night that Bill Clinton was elected, by the way.
Okay. So that's the okay.
Those are the silly things that you remember.
No, of
Um,
course. Yeah. Yeah.
I looked at my mom and I was just like, when will I see him again?
Oh.
Because he was not doing well. He was on a
Okay.
ventilator. All those things. Um, and that's when it hit me that this is going to change things.
Yeah.
This is really going to change things. The child we thought we were getting is not the child we got. Now, I believe that before he was born, Evan chose my husband and me to be his parents. And I didn't come to that belief until later on.
Yeah.
But at that point, it hit me that this is not going to be that typical thing
No.
when somebody has a baby and they go back to work and they hire somebody else to take care of their baby.
Right. Right.
Because as it turned out, he
Mm.
spent 5 months in the hospital
5 months.
right after he
Wow.
was born.
Okay.
And when he came home, he was on all kinds of equipment. There was no way I was going to be able to have anybody else watch him. And there was no
Right.
way I wanted anybody else
Oh,
to
of
be
course. Yeah.
responsible for him.
Yep. Hmm.
So, yeah. And it was
So
just
what?
weird because my
Yeah.
husband and I both had similar paying jobs. And so
Yeah.
we're like, one of us is going to have to stay home.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One of us is not going to be able to go back to our job. And we really considered, what are we going to do? And that's when I said, you know what? He had better opportunities in the future. I'm like, I can always come back and pick this up later.
Wow.
When he's better, when he's in school, I'll be
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
do all those things.
Sure.
And that's when we decided as a team that I would be the one to stay home.
Wow. That's a big decision. And thankfully you have a solid marriage, solid foundation where you consider each other's feelings. What a decision. I get it. I mean, your son's now home with you, and what was the issue that he had to be on all those machines at home? I know premature birth,
He
but
Yeah, premature birth. He suffered a brain hemorrhage when he was 3 days
oh,
old. So he had suffered hydrocephalus.
oh boy.
So at some point, they put a shunt in his brain that would
Mhm.
shunt the fluid off of
Okay.
his brain so that um, his because his head kept growing. And it was he was one of those FLKs, those funny looking kids.
Oh,
Um, and he had a G tube and it had just been placed. So it wasn't something that it had to be open to the air all the time. So
oh
whenever
boy.
I carried him, I had a syringe safety
Yeah.
pinned to my shirt that was attached to his G tube. And
Right.
um, uh, there was just a lot of stuff. Luckily, he was not on any oxygen or anything
Okay.
like that.
Good.
But
So the risk for infection with the open wound.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there were doctor's appointments almost 3 times a week. There would be a
That
different
must have
doctor we'd
been
go to.
what a challenge that is because you have to get the baby, your son, into the car with
Hmm.
what you had to
Yeah.
bring him with. Well,
Yeah.
God bless you for getting through that. Okay, so all those doctor's appointments. Yeah, keep going. I'm sorry. I'm just
No,
powerful.
it was pretty for me, I'm looking
Yeah.
back, I'm like, it was pretty normal,
Yeah.
a kid with a G tube and feeding him
It
with
becomes your normal.
formula and all that.
Yeah.
And at the time I was still pumping breast
Hmm.
milk. And slowly that went away, but it was just a lot of going and
Sure.
doing and
Yeah.
not a lot of thinking.
And
Just
being. Yeah.
responding
Yeah.
is what it was.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
then
Yeah.
when Evan, my son's name is was Evan, and when Evan was 2 years old,
Yeah.
he was in the living room, and I
Yeah.
was in my kitchen with my parents, and my dad looked up and said, "Oh, look, Evan's dancing."
Wow.
And I looked in, and he was having a seizure. And and that was when his seizure history started, was when he
Started,
was two.
right. That's age two.
That was
That
at
was
2,
age
yeah.
age two.
And uh Evan was the type of kid that when he would get an ear infection, the
Mhm.
first symptom that we had was he would have a seizure. There would be no fever. He
So
wouldn't
that's
rub
what.
his
Yep.
ears. There would be nothing like that. He would have a seizure.
Right.
They would check him out. There would be an ear infection. It was so he had a very, very low seizure threshold. And
Right.
it
Right.
took a
Right.
long time for us to get his seizures under
Under
control.
control.
And
Right.
I remember the squad came, took him to the hospital, and we go into the emergency department, and the doctor's asking me all these questions, and I just start in with former uh, premature rupture of membranes at 19 weeks,
Right.
birth at
Yeah.
26 weeks,
Right.
hemiplegic cerebral palsy, brain hemorrhage at this age.
Mhm.
He was blind. He had retinopathy of prematurity, so he was blind. And
Okay.
and the doctor looked at me and says, "Are you a nurse?" And I said, "No, my son has just spent half of his
That's
life in your hospital, and this is how I talk now in medical terms."
unbelievable.
And that was another moment for me, another transition moment for me to
Yeah.
realize that this I didn't talk like a normal mom.
No. Which wow. So the blindness, did all that happen because of the premature birth or the hydrocephaly or the seizure, like, or was he blind at birth?
No, it
No.
all happened because of his prematurity.
Okay.
In babies, the one of the last organs
Uh-huh.
to form is the
Yeah.
retina. And
Oh,
so, in those last few weeks, that retina is growing on the back of the baby's eyeball. And
okay.
when he was born, it was such trauma
Uh-huh.
that the retina stopped growing. And
Oh,
then when it started
goodness.
growing again,
Yeah.
rather than laying against the back of the eyeball, it grew out into the center of his eye
Oh
and
my God.
basically detached whatever retina he had.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Um,
Oof.
he was technically blind. Now
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the fun thing is that I'm getting ahead of myself.
It's okay.
The fun thing is after he passed away, the one organ that they were able to use were his
Yeah.
corneas.
No. Wow.
Yeah, his corneas. I'm like, he never used them, so somebody else got his
Somebody
corneas.
else was able.
Yeah, yeah.
That's unbelievable. And it's okay that you got ahead of yourself. This is your story and this is Evan's story. So tell me about his growing up differently abled, and how you and your husband, changed your life to have to help his.
Um, Well, we ended up having two more boys.
No.
And his our middle son is just 16 months younger than Evan.
Okay.
And so we were in Columbus, Ohio. I could walk everywhere I went. We had this double stroller,
Okay.
and people would stop me and ask me if they were twins. And,
Yeah.
depending on my mood, I would either say no and explain, or
Right.
I would say, oh, yeah, yeah, they're
Yeah.
twins, and just let it go at that.
Yeah.
Um, I had to grow a thick skin.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Um, I had a gentleman yell at me in
Mhm.
the parking lot of a grocery store because my baby's face wasn't covered and he was looking straight into the sun and I was going to get him blind.
Oh wow.
And I was not in a great mood that day,
Some
and I
people,
was not very understanding.
yeah,
And I turned and I said, "That's okay. He's already blind. It's not going to hurt him." And of course, the guy slunk away. Whatever.
yeah, right.
There was a time in that same grocery store that Evan was in a wheelchair.
Okay.
Philip, his younger brother, was in the car, the seat of the buggy.
Right,
Our third boy hadn't been born yet. I'm going
right.
down the aisle, pushing the wheelchair, pulling the buggy, the cart, and
Yeah.
someone yelled down the aisle, "Hey, what's wrong with your little boy?" And I turned to Philip, the one and I'm looking all over, and I'm like, nothing. What do you mean? What's wrong with my little boy?
Yeah.
Not that one, the one in the wheelchair. I'm
Oh
like,
my
oh,
God.
nothing. He's got cerebral palsy, but there's nothing wrong with him.
Wrong with it. Exactly. Wow. Oh, the
Yeah.
things
And
some people will
I've
say.
had people stop me. May I pray for your son for his healing?
Hmm.
Sure. Go right ahead. I mean, if he could get healed, wake up tomorrow
So
morning with
that's
sight and
something
being
that
able,
if someone
that's
said that, you'd
wonderful.
accept that. That's wonderful. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. You
All
you
right.
do you, and
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
we'll take
Yeah.
whatever
We'll
comes
take
from it.
whatever comes and helps.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So you have Evan and Philip, and then the third boy,
Is Derek.
Derek.
Yeah, Derek was Philip Evan was born in 92, Philip in
Uh-huh.
94, Derek in 97.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And the health of Philip and Derek, they were not
Um
born premature or
No, no, they were
regular.
not born prematurely. It turned out that Philip had pretty bad ADHD,
Oh,
and
okay.
so that
Jeez.
was
Okay.
a
That's
struggle in
another.
its own.
That's another.
Um, my husband and I used to call homework time homework wars,
Yeah.
and we would
Imagine that.
tag each other out when one of us got to the point where we were going to lose our minds.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
then Derek,
Yeah.
Derek was great.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
but in the eighth grade, he started having seizures.
Oh boy. Okay.
And um, and we found out that I thought he was just daydreaming, but we found
Okay.
out he was having absence seizures because he would come
Okay.
home and say, "The teacher explained how to do this to everyone except for me."
Oh.
And I would be like, "You were daydreaming. You got to pay attention in
Oh.
class."
Okay.
Or the teacher showed everyone what we were supposed to do
But,
with
but
this
didn't she?
project, but she never told me.
I never heard of absent. What's it
Yeah,
called?
he would
Absence.
just disappear for 30 seconds.
And it would be a
And
seizure happening, and he wouldn't
yeah,
know it.
right. And we never noticed.
Wow.
But
Okay.
but then on a specifically long day, he was
Yeah.
in track, Boy Scouts,
Yeah.
particularly long day, got to the
Mm.
end of the day, came out to talk to my husband and me, and he just fell over and went into a tonic-clonic seizure.
Oh my gosh.
And and that's when he was diagnosed with epilepsy.
Oh gee.
And uh, so we dealt with it. It was really kind of fortuitous because the same neurologist who dealt with Evan, we
Right.
could take Philip or take
Okay.
Derek to.
All right. So
And
I
so
see
we
that.
would
Yeah.
schedule appointments, and it would be Evan would be first, Derek would be second. And,
Right.
it was not that big of a deal. Um, he eventually grew out of them and was able to get off of his medication,
Oh
got a
wow.
waiver, was able to get into the Marines, went
Wow.
through boot camp, went through
Wonderful.
everything. And then
Okay.
while he was in waiting for his classes to start, he had two more seizures. And
So it came back?
he was medically separated from the Marines, which was very difficult because
Of
he had planned
course.
on being a Marine forever.
Yeah.
That was
He
going to
went
be
through
his
all the
job.
training and that was
Yeah.
his I didn't know it could come back like that. I didn't know it can go away and then come back. Okay.
Yeah.
How's Derek doing now? And
Oh, he's great.
how old is
He's
he
off
now?
his medicine again.
Good. Okay.
He and his neurologist kind of figured out that he has a pretty low seizure threshold, so
Gotcha.
he
Right.
needs to get sleep. He needs to stay hydrated.
Okay.
He can't push himself, can't get overheated. And he
Yeah. So
knows that
yeah.
now. And
Okay.
being a 27-year-old man who likes to work out,
Yeah.
who likes physical jobs, it has
Yeah.
been hard for him.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
he's also accepted that this is what his brain is does,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And
he's got
he
to take care of himself.
said he accepts it, manages it, and takes care of himself. Okay.
Doesn't mean he
Wow.
likes it, but he's
No,
accepted it.
no, and that's part of life, right?
Yeah. That's
If
part of that
we don't fit life,
nonlinear
the
thing you were
non-linear
talking
thing, of
about.
course.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Derek, and we'll get to Evan in a second. Of course, now you got me flustered because I'm like thinking my heart's going out to you guys. Your middle son's name, I can't
Philip.
believe this. Tell me
Philip,
about
yeah.
Philip. What's he up to now? How old is he? What's he doing?
Oh, Philip has found himself with sled dogs. He
Oh,
is a dog musher. He
okay,
spends his winters in Utah taking
okay.
tourists for dog sled rides.
Wow,
For 3 summers, he went to Juneau and gave dog sled rides in Juneau for the summer,
unbelievable.
but he decided not to do that this year.
Okay.
Decided to stay home, help with the
Oh,
family farm. So both Derek and
ah.
Philip are on the family farm, helping
Oh,
with
yeah,
the family
family
farm.
farm too. That's wow.
Yeah.
Now,
And
with the I'm wondering about the ADHD, if that ended up being a blessing with the dog sledding type of
oh
job.
my gosh. The thing that
I
people
mean,
don't realize about ADHD is that
yeah,
when somebody who has that kind of a brain grabs a hold of something,
right.
they grab a hold of it with
They do. Yep.
everything that
Yep.
they own,
Yeah.
everything.
Yep.
And he knows all the Iditarod winners. He
Yeah.
knows where they did their training,
I
what
love that.
kennel they got their dogs from.
Wow. Uh-huh.
He and he basically is uh, coordinating this 36 dog team
Wow.
to run 4 dog sleds 4 times a day,
Wow.
and he just loves it. He just
Phenomenal.
absolutely loves it.
Unbelievable. Oh, that's good to hear. All right, so let's get to Evan. You did make mention of his passing, the positive being the corneas were able to be implanted in another human and help. Tell us about Evan and what happened and why he's not with us.
Okay. Um, Evan had reflux, and so when he was
Okay.
an infant, they
Yeah.
did this procedure on him called a Nissen or a fundoplication, where they
Okay.
basically tied the top of his stomach into a knot so
Oh,
that
okay.
things could go down,
But not
but they
come back
couldn't
up.
come back up again.
Okay.
He never really developed that suck swallow, so his
Okay.
swallow was very delayed. He very
Yeah.
seldom ate anything by mouth
Okay.
except for ice cream. He was a
Okay.
true Taylor man and loved ice
I
cream.
love the ice cream. I
Um,
love. Yeah.
and at some point, that fundoplication
Oh boy.
and herniated up into his chest cavity. So
Oh
part of
Jesus.
his stomach was now up into his chest cavity. Didn't cause any problems.
Oh, okay.
We
Didn't.
didn't
Okay.
we knew that to fix that it was going to be a really tough
Oh.
surgery.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then in August of 2020,
Okay.
he
Recent. Okay.
started experiencing severe pain where he would hit his head on the railing of his bed.
Oh,
He would
because he
he would
couldn't tell you what was going on.
couldn't tell us
He
what was
would.
going on. He would
Ah,
smack his arms on the railings of it, the arm rests of his wheelchair, to the
oh
point where
boy.
he would have bruises all
The
over.
poor man.
He would
Wow.
bite his hand, and
Yeah.
he was so frustrated because he could
Yeah.
not tell us what was going on.
Right. And it's
And we
frustrating you too
went
as a parent that you
Oh my
guys
gosh, we
couldn't.
went through test after
Yeah.
test
Yeah.
after test, and they
Wow.
couldn't find anything that was wrong other than this herniation, but they
Yeah.
didn't they did a test to see if there was reflux.
Wow.
No reflux from it. So nothing had changed except for now he was experiencing this terrible pain.
Wow.
And that was the only thing that the doctors could point to, was that this is the only thing that we think
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
And so we decided to go ahead and have that
You
surgery
had the
done.
surgery. Okay.
As it turned out, he never recovered from that surgery, and he
I'm so
spent
sorry,
5
Susie.
weeks in the ICU,
Yeah.
developed sepsis, a system-wide sepsis, and succumbed after about 5 weeks
Wow.
on my husband's and my wedding anniversary, which was
Oh,
yesterday, by the way.
well,
Um,
happy anniversary for your
yeah.
wedding. May
And you know
Evan's
what?
memory be eternal.
It's taken a while, but
Of course.
I look back and I'm like, he he gave us so much
Yeah.
and left such a legacy and
Yes.
such a batch of memories behind.
Yes, he did.
And I would give anything to have him back again. But Drew, you and I never would have met.
No, no, you're right. We wouldn't because
We,
that's what
a lot of
connected
the
us. Yeah.
people I do business with now, I never would have
Yeah.
met.
No, it's true.
And
Yeah.
so it's kind of been an awakening. And remember when I said, I can get back to that?
Uh-huh.
Now I am.
Yep.
I'm back to where I was
Where you, yep.
32 years ago. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, tell us about Susie Taylor marketing. I love the fact that you're into the whole storytelling and I love behind you for the people who aren't watching on YouTube, the certified StoryBrand guide. Tell us about your marketing business.
Well, I formed my LLC a week after Evan's funeral, which I'm looking back now and I'm thinking that was way too soon.
Wow.
Way,
Wow.
way
Yeah.
too soon.
Yeah.
But I started writing website copy for an SEO agency,
Okay.
and I learned so much. But then in February of 24, I decided to become a story brand guide. So I went through
Oh,
the
wow.
training,
Yeah.
and it just was the first time that I actually could think, this is how I bring a client through. This is how
Sure.
I help someone solve their marketing problems.
I love
And
that.
that's
Wow.
the bottom line is it's
Yeah.
I'm a copywriter,
Uh-huh.
but I don't like thinking of myself as a
Yeah.
copywriter because the
Right, right.
definition of a copywriter is someone who persuades someone to buy something.
Yeah, and
And
stories don't do that. So
yeah,
give me the layperson's 101 definition of the story brand certification, like
The
that
story
guy.
brand
Yeah,
framework
yeah.
is based on the story structure of the hero's journey.
Okay,
So think of Star Wars. Let's think
okay.
of Star Wars. There's
Hmm.
Luke Skywalker. All of a sudden, he's thrown into this battle
Yeah,
between the rebels and the Darth Vader guys, the Empire. Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. And he has no clue
Mm.
what to do. So along comes Obi-Wan Kenobi and guides him through and
Ah,
teaches him what he needs to know.
okay.
Um, and then Luke accepts all that guidance, takes that planning, takes that training, and goes on to success, to
Hmm.
be the hero.
Right.
And the point is, your business is not the
Hmm.
hero of somebody's story.
Hmm.
They're the hero of their own story.
Right.
You are the
Yeah.
guide
Okay.
to recognize that they have a problem and you have the solution.
Love that.
And it's your job to give them the plan, ha- show them that you know what you're talking about, that you can
Hmm.
be trusted. You give them a plan, you tell them, show them what to do, and then that leads that customer on to success.
I
Now,
love that.
people
Mm.
don't have just one problem.
No, 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 no. And
Yeah.
usually the
So
first
in
problem you learn
marketing,
about is not
oh,
the
yeah.
the
Yeah.
essential thing you got to
So
work
you just kind
first.
of choose the one that is the most important, and then when
Sure.
you solve
Yeah.
that one, you go on to the next one, and
Hmm.
yeah. So that's basically it. I
I
like
love
to
it.
think of myself as solving people's problems and helping their businesses thrive.
Well, you worked on your own issues in your personal life and helped your family thrive. So I could see this marketing thing being piece of cake for you. My goodness. Well, yeah, the audience certainly has captured the essence of Susie Taylor. Audience, LinkedIn, best way to reach Susie, and the handle is Susie dash Taylor dash Ohio. So put that in because I know when I looked up Susie Taylor, I saw a ton of them there. So make sure you have that dash Ohio in the handle. And I'll put this in the show notes too. Um, All right. We got two final questions. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the opportunity. Use your imagination. You're sitting in your happy place, and you're sitting down with young 7 to 10-year-old Susie, and you want to give her advice about life. What would you tell her?
Um, I think I would tell her that she needs to say yes more often.
Okay.
Take the risk,
Yeah.
take live the adventure, don't be safe.
Right. I love that.
Because I look back and I think I was safe. I played it safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I would really want her to have those experiences
Hmm.
to go to this retreat,
Right.
to go to, do whatever. Say yes more often and not spend so much time by yourself.
There you go. Community, right? I love
Yeah.
that, Susie. All right, so switch gears. Now you're sitting down with young Susie, the young businesswoman, young entrepreneur, and you want to give her advice about business. What are you going to
Mm.
tell her?
Um, that she's a salesperson, whether she
Okay.
likes it or not.
Yeah.
I just wrote an article about it. If you've ever tried to talk someone into going to a restaurant, you are a salesperson. And
Interesting. Yeah.
as a
Good
parent,
point. Yeah.
you are a salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
And and the fact that you don't want to be one of those pushy, do
Yeah.
it my
Well,
way types of
right.
people, that
Right.
means you're a good person.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Ziglar said that if you spend your career helping
Uh-huh.
other people meet their goals, you
Mm-hmm.
will meet your goal.
Yes, I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's wonderful advice. That wonderful advice professionally and personally.
yeah.
For that. Well, Susie, I want to thank you for coming on, being vulnerable, being authentic. I thank you for being the human being you are and what you did uh, for and with Evan. You're part of his legacy. Continue to do what you're doing. You're helping a lot of people, even if it's marketing for their business, you're helping people in their life. You know,
Thank you.
tackle some things that they never expected to have to tackle.
Hmm.
So
Well,
thank
I'm
you.
surprised at how often Evan shows up
I'm sure he
in my
does.
work. Yeah,
I'm sure he does.
yeah.
God bless. Well, everybody out there, please take care of yourselves. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Drew.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and give us a review to help others find it. I'd like you to answer this question. Are you living the life you want to live, or are you living the life others want you to live? I'd like you to think about that for a second, because I strongly suggest you live the life you want to live. If you want to learn more about what I stand for and my services and how I'm able to help many men get out of their own way, please go to my website at www.profitcompassion.com. Feel free to also email me at drew@profitcompassion.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Take care of yourself and choose to write your own story instead of letting others write it for you.